Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grip Block Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. I'm Hunter, joined always by Trevor, and this week we have Brodie Smith and Jeff Korns joining us. We have, as always, quite a full show. We're going to get into some rants, I'm sure, but we're just going to start it off how we always do. This past weekend, we had a few events going on. The main one was the Silver Cup, which was a Disc Golf Pro Tour Silver Series event out in Wisconsin, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
Is that Lake Michigan? What lake was that?
Yeah, it's off Lake Michigan.
It's Lake Michigan.
Michigan?
But it's in Wisconsin.
Can you name all the 5 lakes?
So we had...
I was about to try.
It's tough. There's always one that you can't get.
There's an acronym.
Yeah, there's an acronym.
Yeah, there's
for it.
Lake Erie, Lake Michigan, Lake Superior.
You're going to get to the last one.
I'm not even going to get to the third.
Lake Huron.
Huron.
Yeah.
And then
Lake Huron. I've never heard of that one.
there's the 5th one.
I've definitely heard of it, but I don't know.
Aren't there 5?
There's
There's
5.
5.
There's 5 Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always get 4, and then you can't get the 5th one.
What's the 5th one?
Don't look at me.
Lake Ohio.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
The people
Oh,
at
is it
home.
really?
The people at home know.
Definitely not Lake
No,
Ohio.
no,
That's
no,
not
no,
a real thing. Okay. On the MPO side, the Mixed Pro Open, we had Ricky Wysocki taking it down over Calvin Heimberg. And then coming in third, we had a, 4-way tie between Adam Hammis, Emerson Keith, Johnny McRae, and James Conrad.
Was it close, or did Ricky run away with
Ricky
Four
had a
strokes.
4-stroke win,
Yeah.
-31 to -27, and then
it?
Oh boy.
This
31 down, 31 down, 27 down,
No, 31.
and then 4 people were
31
26 under par. Which we'll get into
Yeah,
why.
we're gonna
Getting
talk about
thrown out
that.
right
Here
here.
goes the terminology.
And then on the FPO side, we had Lisa Fajita taking it down, Missy Gannon, Haley King, Ellen Widboom,
Yeah.
all tying for second,
We have some words.
Dang.
We got some words to eat.
and Paige Pierce was at this tournament.
we have.
She came in 5th place.
Yeah, I think you guys have some
Listen,
stuff to talk
it's
about.
important to realize that at the time of us filming our last podcast, we had no reason to believe, zero reason to believe that anything like this was going to happen.
Yeah, we had. I mean, everything
So-
pointed to Paige Pierce
Yeah.
dominating the FPO field for a
Literally
long
the
time.
next tournament after your podcast came out, she lost.
Yes, it was.
But
4
It
times.
wasn't even like
Mind
2
readers-
or 3 tournaments. It was literally.
It was
the
literally
next-
the next one.
We can't tell the future.
Yeah.
But
All the
That's-
precedent pointed in one direction.
let's be honest, we were all actually. Was everyone there?
No,
Trevor,
just
you
me and
didn't-
Trevor.
No.
Yeah.
At dinner, the Mexican restaurant.
Oh yeah. Trevor wasn't.
Were you there, Hunter?
I don't think so.
No,
Oh,
It was just it was me,
Oh.
you.
So it was me,
Macbeths.
Korns, and all the Macbeths, and literally all of us had our phones out,
Yeah.
looking at UDisc Live and watching this thing. And I think this would have been a really, really drama-packed, down-to-the-wire finish.
Yeah, for sure.
Paige was, at one point, coming in with like a couple holes left, like 6 holes left. Paige was like 6 shots out of the lead.
Yeah.
She then bangs in one from like
90 something.
80,
yeah.
87
You
feet.
made 2 of
The
them,
next
yeah.
hole bangs in one from like 64, and all of a sudden she's like 1 shot back, and we're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Well,
we're like, what is going on?
so hole 18, Lisa Fakis birdied it with a 4.
The
Paige-
only
only
bird-
birdie,
the only- yeah.
only birdie on that hole.
Yeah.
There was an eagle throw in. The
Dan
only
Carey
birdie.
had an eagle throw in. But so she had a 3. That's pretty dope. But then Paige took a 7.
That's 3 strokes.
That's the 3 strokes she lost by.
Yeah.
So if
Yep.
Paige is able to birdie hole 18, we have a little bit of a playoff action. Instead, Paige drops to 5th,
Well,
which
I
I
think
will
also
say.
Missy
Haley-
had. I think Missy
Haley
also
missed
had
a putt too.
I think Missy and Haley both had putts on 18 to push a
get into
playoff.
a playoff.
Not
yeah.
to push a playoff because they lost by 2,
They lost by 2.
and they both parred the hole.
Oh, they needed
needed
Fajitas
Lisa-
not to
Oh,
get
that's
a
right,
birdie.
They
That's
needed
right.
Lisa to
That's right.
par it.
Fajitas
But,
clutched up.
Yeah, big time.
But it does speak to one thing that stuck true from what Trevor and I said previously is Paige and Paul's like mentality of like when Paige went into 18. I didn't watch it wasn't live, so I was watching the scores live. But when Paige went into 18, I guarantee you Paige didn't care that she came in 5th over 2nd.
No, she was probably
No,
going
not
for
at
an
all.
eagle.
She was
trying-
going for, that's what I'm saying.
she's
She was
going
going
for
for
the
the win.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about is like Missy Gannon and Haley King in this tournament, they probably were like, yeah, I would like to won. But in other tournaments, they've been quoted saying like, I'm not going for first, I'm playing for second.
Do we talk about the money thing here or no? Is this a money ratings question? Or
Not really.
no?
I'm just saying that's a
Don't-
mentality question
I'll
of.
sit back.
This is
I was about to go in.
I was saying
can
that's
of
a
worms.
mentality thing of where Paul and Paige kind of set themselves apart because when they go into a weekend, they could care less about second down. They care about winning or losing. If they don't come in first, they lost. They don't care what place they're in. And then the other place is winning. So Paige couldn't care less if she's in 5th, 10th, 20th. She wants first.
I'll just say one thing. If first place would have got 5 times as much as second place, does the mentality change?
It should. I think the
Totally.
mentality would change a lot.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting, too, to see what happens in the very next event. That's going to, really kind of decide, was that a fluke? Or did everybody just get a ton of confidence because they realized that Paige is beatable?
Is that D-Glow? Is there one is there one going on this weekend that they're all playing?
I don't.
There's another tournament. It's not on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. It's on I think it's just an A tier. The Severin Lang in Indiana.
Is that what most of them are playing?
There's some people playing that. I know Barsby, Ricky.
But
I
D-Glow
think
will be
Double
the
G.
next big test.
D-Glow's the next tour
I feel
event.
like she's just going to smoke people on that course, though. It's such a bomber
Hey,
course.
we looked this up because we were curious about. Me and Carl were talking about this morning. We're looking at ratings in Paige and where she was trending. She averaged. I think she went 1,000, 1,009, 1,000 in D-Glow last year.
Jeez.
I feel like that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
that was...
Paige's next 3 tournaments that she's going to drop off from next year's, or from the ratings update that she played last year, she averaged 10, 15 through this next stretch of Midwest tournaments.
Oh, geez.
So was this the field stepping up or was this Paige falling?
Well, she rated
What were the-
903 in that last
Yeah,
round.
she went 956, 1008, and then 903 final round from Paige.
That to me seems like just a bad round of golf.
Yeah.
That cost you.
I mean, it looks like there's 8 points per stroke. So if Paige shoots, her typical 960, 970, which is nowadays is bad rounds.
Her rating's 988.
Yeah. So let's say she shoots her rating. That's 10 strokes, the final round.
At least, yeah.
So if she shoots her rating, that's 10 strokes. She is now winning this event by 7.
Yeah.
Just by shooting her rating the final round.
I think she had a bad event.
I think she had one bad round. She went 956.
The first round wasn't the
1,008.
greatest. The third round was also not good.
Yeah, the middle round was good. So, not to discredit Lisa Fakis, Missy Gannon, Haley King, or Ellen, they obviously played great. I think most of them, all of them shot above their rating, it looks like. Average way above their rating. But I think it's a glimpse that, the same glimpse we've gotten at Paul at times. Where they're having a thing where it's this person's unbeatable, and then there's no, I'm still human.
You want to see a tournament where Paige is playing well and gets beaten.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to
That's what
see,
you wanna
because
see.
then I think that, because if I'm Lisa Fakis and I'm looking, I'm well, Paige just had a really bad last round. If she played good, she beat me. I want to see, I beat Paige at her best. That's the type of thing that I think changes a person's mentality of, I just beat the most dominant female player at their best. I know I can do this again.
Confidence is a huge thing in sports. You look at just the practice rounds that we're having right now leading up to the tournament this weekend. If you're playing a hole and you finally park that hole and you make a birdie and you've seen yourself do it, you're going to have a lot more confidence going into that hole than someone that is struggling to just hit the gap. And it's the same way of when it comes to players. Until you actually slay the dragon and see that it's possible, it's a hard thing to overcome and say, no, I actually can beat this person.
Yeah. And on the MPO side, we saw Ricky get his first win of the year.
Yeah.
Also, just his first win since Lyme disease diagnosis.
Yeah.
Which is pretty big for him.
Yeah.
Shout out.
When's the last time we've been able to come, which I know we missed half the year, but when's the last time we were coming into July saying this is Ricky's first win of the year? That's pretty...
It's been since 2013.
10,
Yeah,
who
it's
knows?
been a while.
He played good golf. He went 1045, 1058, 1054. A little bit lower than what we've been seeing, but the field wasn't the same as a normal Pro Tour field, so the ratings could have been a little skewed from that. Yeah. Just because it was a Silver Series event, it wasn't a full-on Pro Tour, so you're missing some of the, quote-unquote top players.
Is that Heimberg's third straight second place?
He's getting there.
He's been top 5.
Yeah, that's his
everything.
third. That's his third straight second in a
place.
row.
Oh, that's nuts.
He just got to break through because
he hasn't finished outside the top 10 yet this year, and he's only played very big events. So
that's pretty impressive.
So
he's having himself a year.
Here's something that's also interesting. If we want to throw in the money thing again, right now in disc golf, I think if you could take a situation where you get second place at every tournament, right?
Yeah.
Or you win one of those tournaments and you don't money at any of the other ones, I think everyone's taking second place at every tournament.
Right now?
Where,
Yeah.
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 The drops
totally.
aren't that severe.
PGA Tour, you're taking that one win.
Yeah, you want the one win.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because you're cashing in a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we looked at this, and I think I can still pull this up. One of our fans, listeners, his name was Zach Mullins, I believe.
Oh, we talked about this a little bit in the follow-up.
Yeah, we talked about this in the
is
follow-up.
So great.
Yeah, if you guys
Um,
aren't a member of the follow-up, you're missing out. Can I do a plug right now while you're looking it up?
Go for it.
You need to check out the Patreon page, guys. Tons of benefits over there. You get discount codes, you get early access to limited drops, and you get access to the Discord and the follow-up, which is basically as a hangout session. I think we had, I don't know how many people we had in there, 80, 90 people or something, just chilling, asking questions.
Yeah, so I have it pulled up. That was actually perfect timing. Well done. It's like we planned
it. We did not plan that.
Nice commercial.
Yeah, so this is basically if we took the current purses of the PDGA and we used the PGA's paying percentages, what the payout would look like. So no more added cash is coming into disc golf, right, with these things. This is just the Disc Golf Pro Tour events up to this year. The Memorial. First place with PDGA, current breakdown. Whoever won, I think it was Calvin. Who won Memorial this year?
No.
Calvin won Memorial.
Yeah.
Oh,
so-
Calvin did.
so-
Yeah,
Calvin
he was
won
just
Memorial.
laser focused.
Yeah, so Calvin this year took home $4,500. Okay? Without adding a single dollar to the purse, we just break it down the way the PGA Tour does. Calvin instead is taking home $9,585, an increase of $5,085.
And all that is just changing the way the purse is distributed. So
Exactly.
And how many people don't cash?
Yeah.
That
So-
would.
I think it was
So,
what, 6?
It's 6 people that did cash wouldn't have cashed. So, I mean, what are we sacrificing there? Now, a lot of people that did cash, yes, they would have made a few $100 less here and there, but the closer you get to the top, the money starts going up. So everything 18th place and up is all in the positive.
Yeah, do we
They
want
all make-
participation trophies?
All
or
make
what?
more money. So, like, second place would have made close to $3,000 more, going from $3,000 to $5,804. Third place would have made
So second place would have
$1,400.
made more than Calvin made
Yeah.
by winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's without any added cash. And I mean, we can do this for all of them, but basically what it is the PDGA scale, the average first place is taking home about 10% of the purse, whereas the PGA, the average first place is taking home 18% of the purse. So it's almost doubles it. It's an 8% increase to first place.
And
which
the drop is way bigger too.
the drops get bigger as it goes down.
It makes first place more valuable when second place right now is a lot of times really close to
Yeah.
what first place gets.
So right now there's a 3% difference between first and second in the PDGA.
Right now?
Yes.
Okay.
In the PGA there's an 8% difference.
Ooh, more than double.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see, as a fan of the sport, I want to see people really starting to actually have some stuff where, 'cause I feel like right now, if you're not in like contention of winning, really, a lot of players I feel like worry about their rating.
Yeah.
And they're not really worried about, oh, if I miss this putt, it's not, this is the difference. If I miss this putt, I'm going to lose $100 versus if I miss this putt, I'm going to potentially drop a point in my rating. I feel like most people are worried about the point in the rating.
More than the few
Yeah.
bucks.
I want it to be like, if I miss this putt, I'm going to lose $1,000. I think at that point, $1,000 becomes more important than a point in the rating. So you might see them actually like go for it, be a little more aggressive because the reward is so much higher than the risk.
It's worth the risk.
Yeah, because if you take out the ratings completely, there is no risk, right? We were talking about this earlier. Your rating right now is, oh no, who are we talking about? Oh, it's no, with Nick. Nick right now is really close to 1,000.
990, I think.
He's 990 right now.
990. He's not playing in tournaments because of his rating. Because he's so close to 1,000,
He doesn't wanna risk
want
it.
to. He doesn't want to risk it. And it's the same for the person that's 9,005. And I talked about this, or
950.
9,005. Paul's like, wait, hold on.
Wait, who's this guy?
No, if you're 905 and you really want to play at Maple Hill, you're not risking playing in dark horse tournaments before Maple Hill.
Yeah, because if you drop
Because
below
if you drop-
900,
Put up like an 880 rated round that drops your average below.
and now all of a sudden
Yeah.
you can't get in. So I think also, one, it's making it so better players aren't playing in tournaments, and the AMs aren't playing in tournaments, right? The lower rated players.
Yeah.
And then I also think it makes it to where you have some pros playing way more cautious than going like the Page. Like how many girls would have in that field would have done what Paige did on 18?
Played so aggressive.
Played to where she's either going to make a 3, a 4, or an 8.
Yeah. Well, see, there's also though, like a little bit of a counter argument to that.
Oh,
is
give
like,
it to me. Yes.
Well, they don't have the cash payout. They don't have the payout for women right now.
For
Wait, really?
For the Silver Cup?
For the Silver Cup, yeah, the payout's not posted. But what I was gonna say is like,
Is it not the same?
the counter argument is if I'm in second, if I'm Paige and I'm in second, or if I'm Haley King and I'm in second, I'm pushing to first, and I know, hey, if I push to first and I drop to fifth, I'm only sacrificing $300. Like if I don't care about my rating, but the payout stays the same because of how the breakdown is, then it's like the other side, the risk is worth the reward because it's like you're not looking at the money. You see what I'm saying? You're not looking at what you're potentially losing. Whereas
Yes.
if the drop is huge,
give
on the
yourself
PGA,
the scenario though.
yeah.
Right, so let's do the scenario for what it would be like for Memorial. Okay, you're in second place on 18.
Is this the PGA breakdown? Is what you're saying?
PJ, yeah,
Okay.
go pull up
Second
where it's,
place. I'm on the 18.
you're on.
Okay.
You're in second place. Leader's already in the clubhouse with a 1-shot lead on you, so you have to birdie to force a playoff.
Yeah.
Okay. Third place is 1 shot behind you. So if you bogey, you're gonna drop down and tie for third, and then you guys split that. You split second, or you tie for second. So you split that second
Second
place
and third
Yeah.
and
pot.
second and third pot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would that be?
So
First place, you're potentially could win how much?
9,585.
Okay. And the second, third place split in half.
Split would be like 4,300.
Okay, if you're in that situation, are you playing for the guarantee? And then what would second place be? Just guarantee.
Second place by itself is 5,800.
Okay, so you potentially could lose $1,400.
Yeah, but you could gain.
But you
$5,000.
could win over $5,000 more.
Yeah,
What are you doing?
I'm risking it.
You're going for it.
100%.
Risk it for the biscuit, baby.
Yeah.
Well, I think this.
I mean,
kind of,
I think that's it.
This
now,
brings up a topic that Trevor and I had talked about a few weeks ago, where like people will talk about how they don't want disc golf to be like golf at all, right? But
are we going there?
well, like to me, well, yeah, let's go there. because-
Don't light up a bear.
well, no,
over
'cause
here.
to me,
Are we going to move away from the payout scale?
yeah, well, to a certain degree, because to me, this is where when we say like take ideas from golf, we don't have to take everything. So like the payout scale is a great thing that golf has set that we can pull and say, let's use this. The handicap system that we tried turning into the rating system is something that we should have left alone, right? Because like that's something. What is Jordan? What is
They don't have
Brooks
handicaps.
Koepka's handicap?
They don't have handicaps.
Exactly.
If you
Yeah.
ask them what their handicap,
What's
they
Paul
say,
Macbeth's rating?
1062.
1062.
Why do
for
we
this
know
guy.
that? But the other side. So why did we take that and be like, oh yeah, let's turn it into
Everyone should
ratings,
have
and
it.
everyone has it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Why- when we're picking and
I think there
choosing-
are some people in disc golf that are benefiting really well for the ratings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we saying
Two
that
of those
you should
people-
get
two
to
people.
a point where, like, if you're
Well,
over
there's
1,000
companies that are
rated,
benefiting really well for those ratings too.
Yeah.
should it be like if you're over 1,000 rated, or if you're a professional player, that ratings just don't apply?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so the company's benefiting from ratings, right? Like manufacturers,
Mm-hmm.
whoever, would they benefit more if ratings were gone? Not gone completely. They still have the AM ratings, but like now you have your tour card athletes. So people aren't looking at a Brian Earhart at 1,005 on Discraft's team as a 1,005 rated player. They're looking at him as one of the
player.
top 100 and whatever players because he has a tour card.
Yeah.
Is that going to make them more money in the long run? Or Innova with Nate Sexton, instead of being like, oh, well, Nate's down to 1032, they're like, oh, well, he's still like, he finished 6th last weekend. That 4-digit number next to their name means nothing.
Yeah. I mean,
Right now, it means everything pretty much.
Yeah, and I think the ratings, the way it is, and I listen to a lot of people talk about this, and as a new person coming in, I'm trying to learn and understand it, and it's not a simple thing of understanding.
Not at all.
And even the handicap thing takes in golf, it does take some time to understand how it works, because a lot of people were confused. I would post a video where I would shoot, let's say, like a 75, right? And the par was 72, so I shot 3 over, but actually I shot under scratch. So a scratch golfer, because the course was so hard,
yeah.
the course rating, the scratch golfer would shoot on average out there like a 76. So I shot one shot better, so my handicap would actually get lower
Yeah,
than scratch.
even though you shot over par.
Even though I shot over par. That's something that does take a lot of time and infrastructure to do, but would it be that difficult for them to do on, not necessarily on the Pro Tour, because the pros I don't think need ratings or a handicap, but would that be difficult to do on like the lesser, like the smaller tours, to where you could still have ratings and that can be something that, they can decide. I personally don't think ratings should decide who should play in tournaments and who shouldn't. I think there should be a qualification process.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like if Trevor showed up to D-Glow and went nutty on Monday during the qualifier where there were 60 guys and the top 3 guys on Monday got into the tournament and Trevor shot 8 under, he's in.
Yeah.
And then if he blows up and shoots 15 over, 17 over, 12 over in the tournament, who cares?
Well, that can make
it was
for
a big experience.
That can make for interesting storylines too, because you think about the U.S. Open, like in the USGA, there's like local qualifiers. Mm-hmm. So guys that
Pga Championships too.
Yeah, you have the professionals.
I mean, the past one, you had one of those guys. He was like, I think in the top 20 or something at one point. And
So
he's just a pro.
So USDGC is a perfect example of what you want. Where the only way you get into the event is you have to qualify at previous events throughout the year, or Monday before the weekend before the tournament.
I didn't even know that I was in after my first round in DDO. I was in a qualifying spot.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
the top 5 spots.
I don't think by the end of the round, but
okay, Korns.
But like,
all right, Korns.
No, but after the front after the front 9, you were sitting like in the first qualifying spot.
Yeah.
You were the top qualifier.
That's another thing. Again, like you were saying. Trevor was saying earlier, that adds intrigue. I think we need to find more storylines in disc golf.
Yeah.
Right now, there's not enough storylines. It's really everything everyone talks about is who wins, and that's it. And you can talk about that, sure, but in every other sport, there's so many storylines. So let's talk about the local that all of a sudden he's 2 shots back. Even though he's 20 shots back from Paul, he's 2 shots away from potentially qualifying for
USDGC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a story that people want to, because they
They'll
can
get
relate
behind
to
it.
it. They can relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think
No one's going to be able to relate to a 550-foot monster that makes everything inside of 60 feet.
Yeah,
It's
and-
awesome to watch, and you need to have those people. But you also need to have something that you can have other people relate to.
Yeah, I think the ratings thing, because so Jordan Thomas or Brooks Koepka, they probably know.
Jordan Thomas is not a real person.
Justin.
Justin.
Oh,
Jordan Spieth
Justin
or
Thomas.
Jordan
Justin
you had 2 choices
But
there.
But Jordan Thomas might be the best golfer of all time.
We
If
just
they
don't know yet.
combine.
But okay, so any of them, they probably know their handicap.
No.
No, they don't.
They don't.
They don't have a
They
handicap.
don't
When-
try.
When Rom goes out and plays practice rounds, he's not inputting that score.
You have to purposely get a handicap.
Yeah,
you have to
handicaps,
submit
you
rounds
actually have
to
yeah,
a course.
Exactly.
Okay,
So people try really hard. Like there's certain courses that it's easier to get good handicaps than others.
Correct.
That's why you'll watch they do the celebrity tournaments and you'll see Mark Wahlberg is playing off of a 12, but he's a way better golfer than some other dude, who's
The
playing
handicap
off of a 5.
system is flawed as well.
Yeah.
If you go over to golf, they'll tell you how flawed it is.
Yeah.
Because you'll have guys sandbagging and get into a tournament and be like, I have 20 strokes. And then you see them swing and you're like, bro, you're not 20
You
handicap.
can purposely give yourself a
Correct.
bad
And you
handicap.
could do the same thing in disc golf.
Yeah.
That's why you see guys playing in certain divisions
that
and
shouldn't be there.
just absolutely destroying everyone. You're like, there's no way. So it's flawed in both. So the thing is since it's flawed, let's remove it from certain spots.
Well, what I was gonna say is like the handicap system's flawed, the rating system's flawed, but I think the difference is in golf, once you get to the pro, even if I just turned pro, I might know my handicap, but my handicap doesn't matter anymore.
No.
What I'm saying is there's
you're
no emphasis on is all I'm saying. There's
Yeah,
no
if
emphasis on.
you're good enough to potentially get pro, you do not have a handicap.
Okay.
you're not-
So there's
Because-
but there's no emphasis. If there was an emphasis on your handicap,
Just
you
give
would
me
still have it.
I'll just give you an idea for people listening too, just so they know. Everyone knows what scratch golfer means, right?
Yes.
Yes.
1,000
again,
rated in disc golf is scratch. If you're
Okay.
trying to relate it.
Sure. If you're potentially maybe getting on the web.com, or it's not the web.com, it's the Korn Ferry, which is the tour underneath PGA Tour. Okay, if you're trying to get on the Korn Ferry tour, you're probably at least a +4. So that would be equivalent probably to a 1040.
1040, yeah.
1040.
Yeah. But what I'm saying
that's
is,
how good you are. When you get to that level of being that good, you're not caring about your handicap.
I get that, but what I'm saying is what disc golf is doing right now is basically saying
it's everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the reason that it doesn't exist in golf is no one emphasizes it at the top level. If people emphasized it, then Brooks Koepka would know, yeah, I just broke the handicap, I'm a plus whatever. Because then that's what the PGA Tour, like PGA Tour just posted twice today for Paul and Paige breaking the records.
Yeah, and they didn't post anything about who won the tournament.
Well, yeah, that's a different story. Yeah. What I'm saying is imagine the PGA Tour
Shout out
just
to
being like
the tournament winners.
Like Brooks Koepka is now a plus whatever handicap. Like if they emphasize
that people would be like, this is the stupidest post.
But
ever.
if they emphasize that, people would care about that. So I think that it's not necessarily we need to abolish it. We just need people to stop caring about it.
Do we want to pivot a little bit here and talk about majors and talk about the importance things? Because I feel like we're getting to that part of where in golf what really matters and what really matters in disc golf and what maybe should really matter. Because in golf right now, one thing that a lot of people, or I don't know what it's like right now because I haven't really been paying attention to the golf in the last couple months, but in the past FedEx put 20 million. They made this new Fedex Cup where you get points for certain events, and the winner at the end of the year gets $20 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Most money given out to anything, any tournament, anything, right? No one cared. No one paid attention to it when it first came out. No one cared. And if anything, there was a bunch of backlash being like, why are they giving out another huge check to someone that if you won that means you did so well the entire season that you won tons of money already.
You just got so many millions.
Yeah. So people hated it at first, right? Because people hate change. Now it's something that people actually kind of pay attention to and see what their ratings are. And the players 100% know where they are in the FedEx Cup because $20 million is a massive change. I think it even don't they pay out?
Oh,
it goes down, right? Well, like second place still gets a chunk.
Here's what they did that made it so people didn't like the FedEx Cup playoffs because you've got guys. I remember it was one year like Justin Rose, 3 putts in the last hole, comes in 5th. Oh, and he just won $5 million. So people didn't like that people were jockeying for position. Like each putt was worth so much money. Mm-hmm. But what they did is they made it so that whoever wins the Tour Championship, the last event of the year, you had to be really, first of all, only the top 30 players even get into the Tour Championship.
Which is, let's be honest, if you've been there, which I have, it's an insane event.
It's electric.
Insane.
And then they made it so literally you could be in
dead
20th.
Last. You get dead last.
Yeah, and you can win, and you get so many points for winning that it's hard to win and not win the whole thing. Mm-hmm. It happens, Rory won the last one, right?
Yeah. I think
Tiger won the last
Tiger
Tour
won
Championship.
The one before that.
Yeah.
Well, no, he won the... Tiger did... No, did he win the last
He won
Tour
the event.
Yeah, he did.
But he didn't win the whole thing.
Well, here's the exciting thing, and this is a different thing. Now what they're doing, because it was like that, where you would go into the tournament and first place would have so many points already that it was almost impossible for anyone to catch them. Now, imagine doing this in a disc golf event. Paul is so... he accumulates all these points, so Paul starts at USDGC 10 under par. Mm-hmm. Ricky starts the event at 8 under par, and it goes all the way down the list. And I'm the very last person that qualify. I start at even, so I'm already starting 8 shots back. But if I beat Paul, I win. I win the 20 mil. Jeez. Where before Paul needed to get a certain place, and I would have to win for even a chance. Yeah. Like if Paul got second and I beat Paul still beat me.
They simplified it so that the person who wins the trophy at the end is also who won the event. First place always wins.
Which people don't realize, but Tiger won the Tour Championship, and if he missed the putt on 18 and still won. If he would have made that putt, he would have in the new system, he would have ended up beating I think it was Justin Rose actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. He would have ended up beating Justin.
Oh, because of the
Justin
score
Rose
breakdown.
would have started at 10 under, and I think Tiger would have started at 4 or something. Justin had a terrible tournament. Tiger would have actually caught him and beat him.
So Tiger beat him in the tournament, but didn't beat him by 6 strokes.
Yeah.
Correct.
The point is that...
So, there's just different ways of making it exciting, and I think where I want to pivot to, unless you have one more...
I'm just saying the point is that wins need to be the most prestigious. Like
Yes.
it's so hard to win on the PGA Tour. It's so hard. Like when a guy wins, it's like it makes his whole season. Like
Regardless of how big the tournament is.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like you were talking about life-changing money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like in disc golf, I think what that spreadsheet shows us is we're not actually that far away from having quote unquote life-changing money.
Does
20,
anyone
30
remember the
grand.
guy? Do you remember the guy's name that was like living out of his car and he won back-to-back events on the PGA Tour recently? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. If you guys know, put it in the
How
comments.
recently?
Like,
It was like a
2 years ago,
Well,
a year
that's
and a
a while.
half. But yeah, I mean, there's stories like that all the time of where people are grinding, and they win one event, and now all of a sudden they can change. $10,000 is getting really close for someone that is on the cusp of, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Should I be playing more? Should I be practicing more? Do I need to find a job? And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you win $10K.
Yeah.
Now you're thinking,
That
that's
just set
gonna
me for a few months.
that's going to keep me for a few months if I get another win or if I get a top 3 or something.
Yeah.
Now I can keep going.
Whereas $4,000, you're like, I just got another like month and a half on tour maybe.
Yeah.
It's a difference.
The-
Yeah.
The other thing too is, like, $10,000 on tour is completely different from $10,000 being at home. Like your expenses on tour are high.
Absolutely.
You have so much to factor in because it's not like you're buying, unless you're someone with an RV or something, you're not buying groceries for a month or 2 weeks at a time because you're on the road. You're getting in your car and driving.
You're eating
so
out.
you're eating out or you're just getting groceries for a few days, like every week or whatever.
And then also, if we make wins more important, I do want to talk about majors here.
Yeah.
So we're getting close. But if we make wins more important, the 10-18 guy that wins a tournament because he just wins.
He just
Yeah,
had a
he did it.
good weekend.
No one knows he's 10-18 anymore.
Yeah.
And he wins, and so everyone's talking about this guy.
yeah.
And they're not looking like what you literally just did and go, dang, Paige shot a 933.
Exactly.
You're looking and you're just assuming that Paige played bad based off of an arbitrary number.
Because there's numbers next to her name. Yeah.
Versus looking at what she shot, and now in your head, you're looking at a number and saying, holy cow, Lisa shot 4 shots better than her.
Yeah.
You're saying that, you're not basing it off of that. So the narrative all of a sudden switches. And obviously you're still going to get that. If Paul doesn't win
Yeah.
and you watch him play and he doesn't have a good round.
But not
you're-
as much.
But it's not as much. And you're not going to focus on that. You're not
Yeah.
going to focus on this 10-12 guy won, so clearly something weird happened. You're going to focus on, holy cow, who is this guy?
Yeah, it's not
Exactly.
going to be like when Colton won
Yeah,
Waco or something.
and I wanted to go to this example with Colton
Yeah.
and go back and look at the scale because Colton took first at Waco and he got $3,625. What would he have gotten on the PGA Tour scale?
So Waco, he would have gotten $6,371.
Okay, so significant amount more money. And then he took 43rd at Memorial, which got him $475.
It would have gotten him 200.
Okay, so he loses 200 there. He's still up like over $3,000.
He's up at that point. He's up 2,500.
He's up 2,500, and then he did what else?
Preserve?
At the Preserve. Preserve. He took 8th, and he got 1,100.
So at Preserve, he would have made 66 more bucks. So he would have been
Boom.
up
So
25,
he's
66.
Yeah, I'm sure Colton would absolutely love to still have the prestige of winning the disc golf pro tour that he did. Yeah.
Would you
Like,
sacrifice
Would you
200 and make
sacrifice
25?
$200 at Memorial basically for winning, still having the prestige of winning an Elite Series event and a bunch more money, especially like in the terrible circumstances that we had of going into quarantine? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd love to have a couple extra bucks in his pocket.
Yeah.
As like Brodie said, a 10-12 rated golfer at the time, that's what he was, winning an Elite Series event.
Well, it also removes the thing of like, if I'm an outside player, I'd heard of Colton, obviously, because I've been in disc golf.
Yeah.
But if I'm an outside person, I'm just a Paul fan, I'm looking at him like, oh, well, this 10-12 guy beat him. That's a fluke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It removes that completely because it's,
Who
oh,
cares?
who is this Colton
He's
guy?
on the tour.
Yeah,
so he's legit.
Yeah,
If
and
you're
he
on
just
the
won a
tour,
tour
you're
event.
legit.
It doesn't matter. Like, I'm
Absolutely.
looking at like, oh, well, this 10-11 guy beat
Yeah.
whoever. Like,
You're
that's
always,
a fluke.
everyone
Or-
always looks at the ratings and
Yeah.
then sees.
Yeah, if
where
you
they
like
match up.
back up to Vegas, Tristan Tanner at the time at Vegas was like 980 rated or something,
Yeah.
and he took like top 5 at Vegas,
And
and you're like,
everyone
wow, he
goes-
must have just had a good weekend, like good for
Exactly.
him.
That sucks.
But it's like, no, he like hung with Nate Sexton and Calvin Heimberg and like these really good
Yeah.
players for the entire tournament. Like
Ratings-
Tristan's legit; he's
Yeah.
a good golfer.
ratings makes people emphasize the negative of like, that was a fluke in Tristan's game instead of being like, who's this Tristan Tanner kid?
And what the narrative should be is Tristan Tanner has never placed in a top 10 at any tournament, and he's in second right now.
Yeah.
That's what it should be.
And then that
versus
generates
looking-
stories.
Versus exactly.
Because
Those
right
are the
now,
statistics people.
That's
need to
why
start
people are
talking
saying,
about.
"Oh, FPO is stale," or "Oh, it's so boring when just Paul or just Paige wins." Well, part of it is true. Part of it is the media's fault for not doing their due diligence of
Yeah.
like, where is the storyline outside of Paige and Paul that I can follow? Where is the storyline that like
People right now are talking about Paige as being the highest rated player of all time
Yeah.
versus the girl that just
Lisa-
won.
yeah.
And
That
what was
just-
the la-
that just
what was-
didn't
what
lost
was
the
the last
tournament.
time she won a big tournament?
Lisa Vegas?
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
It's been a while.
Yeah, so like that should be the storyline of like, is she coming up? Did she figure something out?
Yeah, because
know?
like there's gonna be some players who just saying Tristan Tanner came in 5th, or was I had no idea because that wasn't a storyline. Mm-hmm. Saying Colton won.
I also
there might be people listening that
didn't
had no
know
idea.
Tristan Tanner was under 1,000 rated.
He just got to 1,000 this last update, I think.
Like I played with him.
Well, but again, it's
I
because
played with
these.
him in Dallas, and I literally,
Yeah.
if someone would have came up to me and was like, "What do you think this guy's rating is?" From knowing how he did in Vegas and watching him play, I would have said like, I don't know, like 10-25.
Well, that's the thing is he's probably playing 10-25 level golf right now because he just went from 980
Yeah.
to 1,000 in a season.
He's just
Yeah.
dropping off old rounds
Yeah.
that he's played on like from now to the end of the year that could be maybe averaging
that's-
around 990.
That's
but
another dumb
he's
thing
now
with
a
ratings.
Yeah,
is
he's
it
now
doesn't
1,015
show who you
golfer.
currently are. It shows who you've been
over a year.
Year
Sure,
with.
they tried to like double weight your
Yeah, but it
your
doesn't-
25% most recent rounds, but
It
that
also
doesn't
takes
really
a
matter.
month for the
Like,
rounds to even go on your rating.
Exactly.
So if I play now, I'm not getting that thing till August something.
So let's pivot and talk about majors.
Yeah, talk
Can we,
about
is that
prestige.
is that something that we can talk about? Is that an okay topic?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we're
All
talking
right.
about the prestige of events.
So again, or should we do? Yeah.
Let's
okay.
get into majors. People
Let's
want to
go
hear
into
this.
ma-
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into majors, and then majors might lead us into disc golf versus golf terminology. Because
Okay.
I feel like that's a good segue. So again, I'm gonna base a lot of my stuff off of golf because it's been around way longer.
How dare you?
And and at the end of the day, the only thing difference between disc golf and golf is disc golf has the word disc in front of golf. Can we all agree to that? Thank you.
We can.
Okay.
yeah, you're playing the same game.
Okay, golf. You've got 4 majors.
Yeah.
Okay, you got Augusta, which is potentially maybe the most prestigious if you're from the United States. Okay, it's played at the same course and it's run by Augusta.
Okay.
Okay, is that I think they have a
Augusta
fancier- I
National.
think they have a
Augusta National.
Yeah, I think it's the Augusta National is the
Yeah.
fancy term.
Yeah.
Of what the organization is. Then you have the U.S. Open. Okay, the U.S. Open is run by the USGA. It's a tournament that's always in the U.S. and it bounces around from what they consider the most difficult courses in the United States. And the USGA comes in and says, "Oh, this is already a really hard course. Let's make it even harder."
Let's make it harder. Yeah.
Okay, that's the one tournament. That's the one major that you always can expect that is going to push players to their absolute limit. Then you've got the PGA Championship, which is run by PGA of Americas. They bounce that around from a handful of tournaments, similar to the U.S. Open. And there's there's been some interesting things going on of where maybe the PGA Championship is trying to be a little bit too much like the U.S. Open, where they're trying to make it really difficult. They're trying to figure out their situation, and these majors have moved too. They don't always happen at the same time. That was a big thing that happened. Is the PGA Championship used to be, gosh, I don't want to mess this up. But I feel like they used to be the second one or something, and they just moved to the last one, or they used to be the last one, and they just moved
They
to.
moved up to the beginning of the year.
Okay, so they used to be the
last.
very last one.
They don't want to compete with football.
Okay. And some people think that was a bad move because the PGA Championship was the final major.
It was like the cap.
So it was kind of like that had, like, if Roy hadn't won a major that year, everyone was like, can he win
Well,
at the PGA? And now that's moved
It would be
up.
like moving
The
USDGC.
PGA is definitely the lowest on the
think
total.
Okay.
I
so
think
not
it
like
conflicts.
USDGC.
I think it also.
No.
No.
I think it also
Prestige-wise.
conflicts with the players too, which people considered like the 5th major.
Yeah.
And they're worried it takes away
The
from
players,
that.
yeah.
But
and
anyways,
so,
the Open.
and then you have the British Open or the
Just the Open.
Open.
Yeah.
And that is run by, oh my God, I'm blanking on the name.
You said the
But
British Golf Association or something like that. Like it's
not that. I'll have to look it up and I'll tell you here in a second. But it's run by the oldest organization in golf. Basically, where golf. Yeah, look up.
I'll look it up for you.
It's a really fancy name, and they're very fancy people that do it. But that is the oldest major And that one, if you live outside of the United States, that is the most important one.
Okay.
Like if you grow up in Europe.
So that's the European Open. Sorry, I'm just trying to relate disc golf in my head.
So those are the 4 majors. And depending on who you talk to, some people, I think the PGA is the only one that everyone agrees isn't as prestigious as the other 3.
Yeah.
But depending on who you talk to, everyone will say another one. And if you've won a Masters, a Open, and a PGA, you're not thinking, I want to win another Masters. You're thinking, I want to win the U.S. I haven't won that
Grand
one.
Slam,
I want a Grand Slam. The
According-
Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews. That's it.
Holy cow.
Yeah. They're very prestigious over there.
I can tell.
So on the golf side, you have 4 majors,
Okay.
and those 4 majors are massive. If you win a major, if you are a nobody, and then you all of a sudden win a major, you now are a major player in golf.
Yeah, that makes
Okay.
sense.
And then all the other tournaments are down here. It's great. You win millions of dollars. Great for sponsors. Great for everything. But at the end of the day, if you're a professional golfer, the one question someone's going to ask you is how many majors did you win?
Okay.
They're not going to ask you how many Masters did you win. They're not going to ask you how many U.S. Opens you won. They're going to literally ask you how many majors.
There's like a list of like Ricky Fowler, Matt Kuchar, like the guys who are great players that never won a major.
It's basically best quarterback to never win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Okay.
Best basketball player to never win a championship. Those are all things that happen in every sport. And I feel like now talking about disc golf, that was one of the most confusing things to me coming over to disc golf is what's what, and then all of a sudden you throw in this dark horse curveball, which is the World Championship, where if you're just an athlete and you love sports, if someone says World Championship, you immediately think that is the most important thing.
Yeah, I think even
Right?
disc golfers would say that.
Yeah.
Okay? But then why is it still considered a major? Why is it still considered
The same
the
tier
same
as...
tier as the USDGC or so I'll leave it to you. What are the majors in disc golf?
Currently?
Currently this year.
You go... Oh,
Well, not this
wanna
year.
do it?
No.
Yeah.
Yes, in years past. Like,
Well,
Well, so
What
there's
changes?
been lots.
no,
Yeah.
but
The
obviously
the
this
ones
year,
that are mainstays are like
the
Worlds,
ones that would have happened this
USDGC,
year.
European Open. Those are the mainstays.
Yeah. Those were the 3 for
They'll
this year.
throw
They were
in,
the
like,
3 for last year.
Pono Day, or they'll throw in...
There's normally always
Masters
the
something.
Worlds, the USDGC, a European major, which is currently and for the next couple of years should be the European Open.
Yeah.
It's been the Kona Piste Open. It's been the European Masters.
Was the Aussie Open ever a
The Aussie
major?
Open has been a major.
It
I
used
think,
to be
2
every.
times.
It used to be like every other year. So like
Yeah.
2017, 2015 type.
And then there's also been the Japan Open. There's
Yeah.
been, and then
They-
there's been
they
also
cycle in and out.
there's
Open would be dirty.
Japan Open's sick, and that's
They
I'm
haven't-
so
it's coming
excited.
back, right?
You know,
2021?
obviously hoping we're travel restrictions and stuff
Yeah.
are better by May of next year, but at the same time, there's also been another, like as Brodie would say, a bunch of dark horse random majors that have been in Europe, from the Scandinavian Open, the Stockholm Open. There's
So
I could name
think-
probably 4 more of like random.
Yeah, so I think, and this might be a question to Trevor, because I feel like Trevor,
Gets golf.
we're on there in the golf, and also just like, I mean, everyone can chime in, but when they added statistics to sports, it changed the game.
Yeah.
When they started history and started tracking things, it was a game changer. And one of the things that golf holds that a lot of sports don't is how long the game has been around. It has so much history because it was created so far ago
Yeah.
that they're able to look back and say, hey, this tournament has been played over 100 times.
Yeah.
Over 100 years this tournament has taken place. That history matters, and I think it matters to sports people, and I think it matters to players. And if you start bouncing tournaments around, if you start not really solidifying what matters in your sport, you're going to have an issue down the road. Because like in basketball right now, what does everyone gauge off of who's the best basketball player of all time?
Rings.
Titles.
Titles.
Championship titles,
Yeah.
Championship titles,
So, like,
right?
what
for the
is
most
that?
part. Yeah.
So, disc golf, it doesn't make sense to me that I'm not saying we need to get rid of anything. I'm just saying we need to have a better understanding of what
I see what
matters
you're
and what
saying.
doesn't. And like,
Whether
if
it's
you
reclassifying what something means,
the World
or-
Championship should be at
Its
a
own
different world. It's a World Championship.
Yeah.
No, well,
Throw it
I
somewhere
think what
way
you were
up
saying
top.
earlier is making sense. Like if you talk about Tiger, he's won X amount of majors. If you talk about Climo, he's won 12 worlds.
Worlds and U.S. titles in disc golf are the two that have stuck the most.
They're
I
the
think.
prestigious.
They're the
two
prestigious
prestigious
ones.
events. That
I see what
always
you're
happen.
saying though. Like they got to pick their majors and stick to them so that we can say, 50 years from now, like that it's the same, like that's comparable. So
Yeah.
we can when we say. Like, people still make that argument in golf, like, when they compare major championships or, like, wins. Sam Snead, Tiger just tied, like,
Yep.
Sam Snead's wins
Wins,
record.
yep.
And they're like, that's not even applicable because the field is so different and those events were so different.
The majors.
That happens in golf, and golf's been around forever. We can't have that happening in disc golf. And if we're
It's
switching...
already happening
yeah,
now.
if
does.
we're switching around majors all the time, that's what's going to happen. Like, well, that major, he won all those majors back when they were playing that event, and that event was
Yeah.
way easier to win. Like, the Aussie Open... If I'm wrong in saying that not as many players travel to play that,
No,
right?
that's right.
No.
So you could argue it's easier to win an Aussie Open.
Absolutely.
So
Like
we don't want majors that are easier to win.
But then if you also decide that these are the majors, and if you win at this majors are going to be 10,000 for the winners, and everyone knows now that majors matter versus just world championships, you're going to have people travel to play at the Aussie Open. You're just going to. And if you're an athlete that cares about your legacy and cares about, I want to try to do everything I can to leave my mark on the sport, you're going to try to win majors.
So what's the answer for disc golf? Do we separate Worlds as like a new tier?
To
It's
me,
just the
Worlds feels like an Olympics in disc golf.
So Worlds is its own thing above majors.
Worlds is going to be the most important thing and should stay the most important thing. Because
So-
I don't think, if I said right now, I think you should get rid of the Worlds and just make 4 majors, I think I would literally get killed.
Well, that's a horrible idea.
Yeah,
That's
that's
bad.
why I'm not saying it. It's not a good idea. So you should keep Worlds. You already have that established. You already have established that is the most important
But I'm
thing.
saying,
But now you need to have a subset.
But do we change? Like, are you saying it should be more like players by the majors they win, and the majors should be like Paul's won? This is not real, but
I
30
think it's
majors.
gonna be-
he's won 15 majors.
So Paul's won 15 majors.
Sorry.
I think it's going to be like basketball. Okay, basketball. For the most part, if you're a basketball fan, you know how many NBA championships someone's won and how many times they've made it to finals.
Yeah.
So the championships is Worlds, finals is majors.
Okay.
Because you can't have it like golf because all 4 of those are technically all in one grouping,
Yeah.
right? And they all matter.
They
You
all
can't-
matter about equal.
You're not going to be able to do that in disc golf because everyone's going to be like, oh, this guy's won 10 majors but hasn't won a world title.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's going to say that.
Well, that's
Versus the guy that's won 2 world titles. If you won 2 world titles and no majors, and a guy's won 10 majors and no world titles, everyone's going to assume
Yeah.
the
the
2
2-time
title
world
guys
champion is much
better.
more legit.
Yeah.
When in fact, he's not. All those were they're all equally hard to win, and that guy won more.
Yeah.
That narrative's never going to happen in disc golf. So Worlds has to be the NBA championship, and then the majors has to be.
I mean, I think, to me, Worlds. I'm fine with Worlds being above a major. I think every disc golfer already thinks that way. Because what I was saying, if Paul, let's say Paul or Ricky or whoever this year, not this year because there's no Worlds, next year, Ricky comes out and loses, but wins a Worlds.
He
had a good year.
great year.
Yeah, he won Worlds. He had a good year.
Yeah.
Whereas if you win everything and you lose Worlds and you're Paul, people are like, Paul had an off year.
Yeah.
He could come in second or third at every event and have a dominant year, but lost Worlds.
It could be like Calvin this year.
Yeah.
Calvin's having a
Calvin's
heck of a
killing it.
season.
Yeah.
Hasn't
And
finished- yeah.
and if he doesn't play well at Worlds, he
Which
had
Worlds
a
is not happening this year.
yeah.
But,
But if he didn't play well at Worlds, right? If he didn't get a top 3 at
'Cause-
Worlds or
yeah.
something,
Well, that's what
he
makes
had
people
a-
remember
He
you.
had a bad.
If 3 years from now, people aren't going to remember, Paul's 2016, 2017, since it's Paul, they might, but Greg Barsby, if he wouldn't have won Worlds in 2018, no one would have remembered his season.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, forever now, people will remember, Greg Barsby in 2018 took down Worlds.
The majors are almost like, you can almost say they're almost like the playoffs. Really, that might be a better thing of, if again you're not a team sport, but making the playoffs is a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
But winning it all is the best accomplishment.
Yeah. I think USDGC stays as a major.
I like that.
I think
Agree.
European
It's the
Open
US
stays.
Open.
And I think we need one more that's consistently there. I think the European Open is a great event
So
to
have
stay.
3 majors and then
And then
a
Worlds. So there's 4 major events. One's above a major tier-wise and prestige-wise, which is already above prestige-wise, regardless of if
It
they...
literally doesn't even call. It's not even considered a major.
No,
You
it
literally
needs
at
a new-
at the
it's
end
just
of
the
Paul,
Worlds.
at the end of
The
Paul's
World
career,
Championship.
it'll say He's won 7 world titles.
You put a little
and
W
20
next to
and-
it.
Yeah, right
and
now it's
20
5 world championships and
20
10 majors.
20 majors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Five
Five
world
world
championships, 10 majors.
So I
Yep.
think you add a third major. So Worlds is above it, and then
which
you
the
have a third
PDGA
major.
wants to do. Nate Heinold is like the chair of the majors committee, and he wants to add a third major, or what would be a
Would be
fourth
fourth
major,
right now, yeah.
and call it the PDGA Championship or something similar to that. Bring that back. That used to be a major event.
I think
That takes away. That brings in
No.
the whole argument of should the PDGA be doing like.
the PDGA should forget the national tour, forget everything
Yeah.
but Worlds. The
Yeah.
PDGA
I don't-
keeps Worlds.
I don't
The
have a
PDGA
problem with-
screws
Oh,
everything
they
else.
already have worlds?
I don't have
The
a problem.
PDGA,
They
the
don't need
PDGA
another
owns
one.
worlds.
Disc
They don't
Golf
need
Pro
another
Tour gets a major.
Yeah.
Like sure, call the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship the last major.
Yeah, they need to
That's-
rework
that
the.
could-
I mean, it
outs
would be
the
nice to
bracket
not play
thing.
back-to-back majors at the end of the
Yeah.
season, but that's another.
You got to figure out
yeah.
the timing
Yeah, you got to figure it out, but
because they have like PGA championships and stuff in the middle of the season, right?
What
Majors?
majors?
Well, you
Majors
could- well, you
trickled
could-
in.
well, you-
Majors are all majors
And
are all
golf.
throughout the year.
But isn't there some like the PGA championship and this championship in the middle of a season?
Yeah.
So why can't we
Outside
have
The
of
the
Masters
Wait,
is
are
in
you talking
April.
about not majors?
majors?
Yeah,
The
majors
Masters
are
is in
sprinkled all
April.
throughout.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
the PGA is the PGA champion. What's a major? Name one major. U.S. Open. Is that in the middle of the season?
That's in June.
That's
Augusta,
in
like
June.
Augusta
Oh,
Nationals, like in April.
So then why can't we
Yeah.
have the Pro Tour championships in July?
Well, the Pro
They
Tour
should be-
Championships, like the Pro Tour Championships, but say like the
That should be a different
USDGC.
thing.
You know, we're going out to USDGC in April instead of
They
I
October.
should
think
be- they
USDGC should be the capstone.
They
That
should
should
be-
be when the season ends. I hate every year we get to USDGC.
Why
every
is, why
event
is
past
Worlds
it
not the last thing?
because it never has been. But every year you get to USDGC.
Well,
That's a great
but I'm saying
fantastic.
I'm saying
Wow.
every year you get to USDGC, the season's over. Like I've never watched the Hall of Fame Classic and been like, oh yeah, I'm really interested in this.
Oh, cool, the NT finale,
The
like-
season's
Yeah.
gonna be even way more over if Worlds is before stuff.
That's fine.
The
But
pro-
I'm saying a major needs to be
the
the
problem
end
is
because
the
that's
pro-
yeah, Worlds.
that's when it feels like the end.
Worlds is the biggest tournament.
So that's
That
what
should
I'm
be
saying.
the final
If the
tournament.
Pro Tour Championship's
It's
a
a Super Bowl.
major, it
You're not
can't
gonna-
be.
You're not gonna put you're not gonna put a Super Bowl before like the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, but if the Pro Tour
Wait,
Championship,
do they put a Super Bowl? No, they do the
the Pro Bowl's
Bowl
right
before.
the 1 week before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because they know if they put it afterwards, no
no one's gonna watch it. Yeah.
if they do a Pro Tour Championship though as a major, they got to get rid of the bracket style. Like it's not the same.
Why
event.
not? Well,
What's
no.
the bra-
Well,
what's
the
the bracket
bracket and like winning your card stuff is all garbage.
Yeah.
I think it's a
Wait,
beautiful.
What is this? I haven't heard about this.
So the way the Pro Tour, you know, the Pro Tour points that people are accumulating, and
try
there's a
to do it like
standings.
FedEx Cup
You
style.
basically you get seeded, you get put in cards, and then winners of cards move on. And
That
then,
event is not a major.
no, it's not.
They come up with.
I
a
think
Pro
this is
Tour
a sweet
Championship.
opportunity to keep this seeding and keep this standing, but go to a match play format.
Yeah, well,
like
that's-
imagine watching. Like I remember it was 2 years ago when we
Well,
were
they
talking
did
about
the Dell.
this.
The Dell match play is a great event.
They don't
And
even
Well-
have to call it a Pro Tour Championship. They can just say this, like whatever they call it, presented by the Pro Tour.
That's
And-
fine too. I just think
And
the
it's
Pro
a
Tour.
major.
I
And
just think
it's
the
a
Pro
major.
Tour
Yeah.
Championship sounds dirty if it was just a major.
But that to me sounds like a point series type thing.
Yeah,
What
that
they're
sounds,
already
that's
doing.
like the Tour Championship, which is
Yeah.
not a major.
But
No
what
one,
is
no
the-
one remembers how many Tour Championships you've won.
when I
No.
think PGA Championship,
The only
is
person that
a
remembers
major?
how many Tour
Yeah.
Championships you
And-
won are the players.
Okay,
because
what
they
is-
get $20 million?
What is the Pro Tour compared to in PGA? Like golf. The Pro
What is-
Tour
what is
is
the PGA
blank.
Tour?
No, the Pro Tour is what? The PGA Tour?
But the PGA
Yeah.
Championship.
So why the
This-
heck
the
is it
Disc
not the
Golf
Pro
Pro
Tour
Tour is the
Championship?
The PGA Championship is not the PGA Tour Championship.
It's just run by the
it's
PGA.
Oh yeah,
correct?
sorry.
So it should be the disc golf
hold
pro
on.
championship?
What
the
you're
PGA
trying to
of
say is,
America. It's a
what you're,
different thing.
yeah, what you're thinking of. So you have the PGA Tour, and then you have the PGA of Americas, which is a completely different organization.
So this is something where we don't take from golf because that is the most confusing stuff.
It is. No, it is
It is
very
confusing.
confusing.
This is
Oh
where
my.
we
This is
simplify
where
and
this
pick
is
and
where you
choose.
have a bunch of companies that are like, no, we're the most important. No, we're the most important.
They're all
And you're
jockeying for position.
Yeah, and you're gonna get that everywhere.
Yeah.
You're gonna get that everywhere. But what you're trying to suggest is what the PGA Tour has been trying to do for years. The Players Championship, they're trying to make that a major because they own it. The PGA Tour, that's the Disc Golf Pro Tour's championship, and they're trying to say this is a major, and everyone's like, no, bro.
Okay, so the Players Championship. There we go. We call it the Players Championship.
sure.
That's a major.
That's
in
actually
disc golf.
dirty.
Yeah, you can
The
do
player-
that.
I'd be down for that.
So that's a disc golf major, and we keep the Pro Tour as the bracket seeding thing.
Yeah.
And then we're good. We're
Yeah.
set.
Fine.
Okay,
Perfect.
terminology.
Yeah.
Terminology.
Terminology.
Like that.
Do we have a list of stuff that I already said I
We
don't
don't
like?
really, but I think this is where
Oh boy.
this is where we pick and choose. Stuff like this is where. But I think what you're saying is like who's
So-
choosing what we're taking.
So this is So I wanna first open it with, you have disc golf and you have golf. Clearly, looking at the two sports, they're very similar from an outside perspective.
yeah.
At some point, someone made a decision of we want to keep this, we want to change this. We want this. We don't want this. I want to know who that person was, and I want to know why they made those decisions. So I'm just going to throw out a couple things. Okay. First one being the under par. Okay.
Yeah.
In golf, if the par is 70 and you shoot a 67, you say you shot 3 under.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't say you shot -3, which is what
Yeah,
you.
whatever.
No one says that. No one.
I think we all agree. No one says that.
No one says that. That was
you don't say you shot 3 down. That no one has ever said that.
That is a disc golf thing.
That's a disc golf thing. And then there was another thing that some people say: 3 big or 3.
Oh, so if you're over par, there's the like I'm shooting over or 3 big. Or,
yeah. Well, if you're over par, you shoot. You literally said over par. So I shot 3 over.
Or 3 up.
Oh yeah, 3 up was the other one.
3 up's disc golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you say down or up in golf, that is talking about match play.
But
That
see,
is a
that's
completely different. You're not playing stroke play anymore. You're playing match play.
But that's
so
the
if me
biggest
and
thing.
Trevor are playing golf and I beat him on the first 3 holes, I'm 3 up.
Yeah.
He's 3 down.
I get that. But like, in disc golf, match play isn't really a big thing. Like
Needs to be.
there's certain match play
It'd be
events,
great
but
to be.
So my question is, who said, "Hey, we're playing stroke play, so let's take the match play terminology from golf"?
I feel like it wasn't
probably just
intentional.
caught
I feel
on.
like it was just legit. Like it
Yeah.
makes logical sense.
I think it just caught on.
like I'm 3 down. That just makes perfect sense to me. Like I'm 3 down to the course.
That sounds like you're not playing well.
Course par. I'm 3 down.
To the
I'm 3 up.
I also do think like 3,
I mean, I
like
get
3
it.
down through.
I get it.
Like if
I-
you said
I
3
think
down
it's
through
too,
5.
like I came from like ball golf and like it caught on. Like I say it
Because it
So,
makes
like,
sense. It rolls. It just.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
like 3
Catching.
down through 5 sounds better than 3 under through 5.
It's easier to say.
I mean, I don't
I
necessarily.
don't
I don't
agree
think
with
that
that.
flows better. 3 like I'm 3 down through 5.
less
Or
syllables.
Down,
Of course it
down a
feels
lot of
better.
times has like a bad, has like a
You don't say
negative
3 down
terminology.
par.
so does under.
When do you ever say under?
6 feet under.
Actually, under the weather.
Under the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So I take back everything I said.
That's not okay. This is like not the most important.
No, this
one,
is not the most
No.
important, but I wanted to preface with that because there's just things.
Well, I'm just saying that one.
So-
I fully support disc golf keeping down.
I can.
Down.
I would
You
say
can
this.
live with that.
You can say You can say whatever you want. It's fine. But the problem is we need to pick something and stay with it because we've heard on coverage, which this past tournament we watched coverage and someone said -3 or something like that. So we need to just pick it and everyone say it because it'll be less confusing. Can we agree with that?
Sure.
It'll be less
Sure.
confusing. Or no?
I mean, yeah.
I think it all makes sense. I don't know how.
when
someone
I
would get
first started
confused.
playing
Yeah,
disc
for
golf and
disc
heard
golf.
people say 3 down and stuff like down, I had no idea what it meant.
Yeah, it's same. That's all I'm saying. Is the,
It was
me, it
like
just
all
made
the disc
logical
golfers that
sense.
are
I never
watching
questioned
are
it.
Because I
totally.
was telling people,
yeah, all the
Yeah.
disc golfers are probably like, bro, you're an
They're
idiot.
like we get it, we understand.
we
It's
get
all the
it.
same. Yeah.
But I'm just saying for newer players, it's confusing when there's a bunch of terminology. Okay, moving on to the ones that I think actually do matter. Out of bounds. Okay? Out of bounds in golf means something completely different than out of bounds in disc golf. I would love to start seeing out of bounds being played like out of bounds in golf.
Where you re-tee.
And that's the stroke and
Stroke
distance.
and distance.
And then you have hazards where if you go into a hazard, you can play it like how out of bounds is currently being played. And I think that would also make courses more dynamic because now there's 2 different types of penalty strokes. And so now standing on the tee, you're thinking about the OB line and you're thinking about the hazards, where
Well,
right now everything's just the same.
Think about like the drama that creates at the USDGC on the island hole when a guy has to re-tee so many times.
Well, they kind of removed some of that drama because you only re-tee like
Well,
2
now
or 3
you only
times.
re-tee
You-
Three times.
Three
But
times and you
You
go to the
tee
drop.
off, you miss.
I like
Yeah.
Previously, you could tee off all day. If
I
you're
like-
making
yeah.
the island, you're not making the island.
I like that.
I
think,
love that.
I think it creates like, why are we, if we see that, like, that's the only event I've ever watched in disc golf where a guy can step up to the 17th hole with a
20-stroke lead.
a huge lead. And I'm like,
Johnny McRae in
Yeah,
like
exactly.
2000.
2015.
and I'm
Well,
thinking
yeah.
to myself,
Yeah,
this
14,
it's
14.
not over until he gets on that island.
Yeah.
I want to see more
What
tee
other-
shots like that.
Is there a golf course that's very similar to that?
TPC Sawgrass.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Many players have gone to 17, and the way that course is also built is kind of reminds me when I heard someone say about how far of a walk it is. I haven't done it yet, but how
Oh,
far of
it's
a walk
crazy.
it is from 16 to 17.
Yeah.
It's so funny
yeah.
because at players on 16 is all the way down. You play all the way down 17.
Yeah.
So as you're walking down 16 playing,
Oh, you're
you
looking at
look to
17.
your right and you see it. and you see all the people, you see all the
all building
cameras,
up.
and you're already starting at that moment. I mean, I played a practice round there
Yeah.
for nothing, and I already was starting to sweat.
Well, I think that's the thing is, it's something about the buildup of like the moment's coming.
Yes.
That makes the hole hard.
Yeah.
If you take
That's not a hard hole.
No, not at all. It's a 200-foot little.
Those guys
putt-out.
would shred that hole.
But it's the half a mile walk you have.
Yeah,
And
the
it's
mentality-
the walk with 100 to 300 people
Yeah.
behind
But it's
you.
also
walking,
the stroke
yeah.
and distance.
Yes.
Let's not say that. If you threw it OB and you were
you
able to
proceed.
drop
Yeah,
into
you
the
just
drop zone
cruised over,
immediately
yeah.
to the 40, no one would miss that as much.
No, but it's the thought of I could be legitimately losing the whole tournament.
And I threw the
And-
disc
Yeah,
I already
whole-
wanted to throw.
Open up.
That hole could be a 2 or a 4, but now it could be a 2 or like a 9.
So this was one of my things that this kind of goes back to like the course difficulty and whatnot. But if you open up the USDGC from last year and look at the scores from the winners, from the top like 6 guys, okay. I looked at the preserve. I believe in the top 6 guys there were 2 bogeys the entire 18 from all 6 guys at the preserve.
Oh, you want me to look this up on like UDisc Live?
Yeah.
I got it.
If you
Okay,
look
good.
up,
'Cause I was
okay,
searching PDGA.
So there was 2 bogeys in all 18 holes for the top 6 guys at the preserve. Oh, give me the
goodness.
scores of the top 6.
Oh, I forgot how exciting.
Give me
this
the-
PDG.
Give me the scores of the
was
top 6 guys on one hole.
on 17.
All right.
On one hole.
So hole 17, James Conrad took a 7.
Yep.
Jeremy Colling took a 2. Nico took a 5. Chris Clemens took an 8. Chris Dickerson took a 5. Philo took a 5.
So they were, I believe,
One,
Man,
two,
what a
I
finish that
believe
was.
they
forgot
were.
that was
I
a
believe
late-
they were like
crazy.
8 over par, 8 or 9 over par. Those 6 guys, where the preserve there were 2 bogeys the
The whole-
entire round for 6 guys. So
They're 14 over par. Those 6 people are 14 over par in one
and
hole.
those were the best players at that tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing the best. So am I saying every hole needs to be like that? Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. I don't want that. But what I'm saying is the drama that is created on that hole by stroke and that is created strictly by stroke and distance.
Yeah.
Yes.
The walk obviously helps, sure.
Yeah.
But stroke and distance is the reason why that's created. If you add stroke and distance on other holes, is it going to be that crazy? No. But you are going to have holes where you could get a 2 or you could get a 5.
Yeah.
You could get a 3 or you could get an 8. That's what disc golf needs. You need the ability of you step up, and I'm not saying every hole needs to be like that. Let's
Yeah.
have some holes where everyone's going to get a 2 or everyone's going to get a 3. That's fine.
And I think the thing is, too, I don't want to see a guy throw a huge shot, go out of bounds, and then have a 40-foot putt.
For par.
Yeah, for par.
Yeah.
Because,
Totally.
That doesn't happen in golf.
yeah, it should not
I
happen.
do like when stroke and distance come up, people get super defensive.
There
But
can
I
be
like
drop
what you
zones,
said
though.
about there's an OB and there's a hazard.
Yeah.
And so, like, in disc golf, if OB went to stroke and distance, but we also had OB lines that were played by the traditional rule.
Well, you call them hazard lines.
Yeah, but in disc golf right now, it's an OB line. If that
yeah.
turned into the hazard line and an OB line turned into stroke and distance, I like that a lot. I think that makes sense because some holes, like 17, because USDGC, the ratings don't count because it's against the PDGA's rules.
There's
currently.
too many waivers that would need to be done
Yeah.
for the rules to,
Yeah, so it doesn't. The ratings don't count.
Okay.
But if that was something that, like, this weekend at our tournament, we could definitely use stroke and distance here and hazard here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, you
we
can
could say
pick-
You
like,
would use it. You would use it on 18.
yeah, you can choose
All that
where
would be.
you're doing.
All that would be OB
Yeah,
to where you'd have to rethrow, and then if you threw one up to the green and it rolled into the water, you would take it up there
that's a
as
hazard.
a stroke. It's
Yeah,
a hazard
that would
to
be
water.
amazing.
Yeah.
So that you,
Be a great hole.
that's something that I think is a great like thing where we can pick and choose and make it work for disc golf. Because there's a third type of OB that just makes things confusing to me.
We won't
But-
even bring that up in golf.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
But,
yellow
so,
stakes,
we'll ignore
stakes,
that.
red stakes, it gets a little
Exactly,
it
but
gets a
that's
little confusing.
that's
we don't
again
we don't
where
need to do that.
Disc golf, I think people get as soon as you bring up disc golf versus golf, they get defensive because they think we're talking country club pay to play $100
We're
courses.
only talking the pros. That's all
Yeah.
my suggestions
Yeah.
in disc golf right now is literally pros.
Pros, but it's also
And also not
we can
just like tour pros too.
Yeah.
Like we're talking Elite Series events.
And
we're-
Most,
but
like
we're
for the
also
most
Correct.
part.
saying-
We're not talking your local A tiers, B
Yeah.
tiers, C tiers. We're literally
Yeah.
talking about just the top of the top events.
But we're also talking about we can look at hundreds of years of sports history, look at why they made the decisions they made, and learn from those mistakes to say, we don't have to make this mistake and figure out that, hey, we do need a second type of OB. They already did it for us. They already
Yeah.
figured it out. Why are we going to sit through and make these same mistakes and take us hundreds of years to get to where they are when we have the history book, we have the game plan in front of us. Let's look and be like, this didn't work. This does work for our sport. This doesn't work. This does work.
Yeah.
And create the best sport we can.
And I know there's probably a lot of pros that hate stroke and distance. But again, you got to put stuff on the table for them to see and make a decision. If you literally just say we're doing stroke and distance and that's it, a lot of people are going to be like pissed.
Yeah.
But if you say, hey, if we play stroke and distance, the game's going to be more exciting. There's going to be more players interested in watching. There's going to be more people watching. Now more sponsorship money comes in. And now instead of you making a great year $30,000, you're now making $100,000. Should we do stroke and distance?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you know what everyone else complained about stroke and distance? They were like, oh, if I blow up and I have a terrible round, my rating's going to suck.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to... So what did USDGC do? No ratings.
Yeah, ratings don't matter.
Great. Ratings don't matter in our future. Where
And you know what gets exciting?
Where these tour players aren't ratings.
USDGC is every year, every single year, USDGC is probably the most exciting event to watch. Yeah. Every year. Like,
because every shot, something really bad could happen.
And the tournament's never over, ever, because you're coming up to 17.
18 is super hard, too.
Yeah,
18 is really hard.
If you're walking up to 17 and 18 and you have a 5-stroke lead, you're not comfortable yet.
18's not even stroke and distance. Could you imagine if 18 was stroke and distance?
No, that's what
Off
I'm
the
saying
tee?
is...
If that was all OB up there?
Using the two different
Yeah, what
types,
you haven't seen is it's crazy elevation. Like, it
Yeah.
does not do it justice
using
on the video.
Two different types of OB is what makes that tournament where every year, when you're walking down, you're in hole 16, and any other tournament, Paul's up 6 or 7 going into hole 16, I'm turning the TV off. I'm done.
Like,
why would I watch it?
Yeah.
It's over.
Unless he's like on record pace or doing something insane.
Yeah.
But if
There's no drama.
If I'm watching Ricky's up 6 or Paul's up 6 or whoever's up 6 going into 16 and 17 at USDGC, not a chance I'm turning my TV off because it's nowhere close to over.
Let's also not forget, one of the biggest things in sports is rooting against someone, right?
Yeah.
Everyone loves rooting against someone.
Everyone loves the haters.
So if I hate Paul and he's up on 17 at a course,
Yeah.
and he's up by 6, I already know, like, I what am I rooting for? Throw it OB so you have a 40-foot putt for par?
Yeah.
I can't root for anything. But if he's throwing OB, I'm like, oh my God, throw another one OB. Oh my God, he can't let it on the green.
Yeah.
I'm tweeting, he can't let it on the... I'm going nuts. I'm rooting against him.
Yeah.
Because I want someone else to win.
Yeah.
Right?
And it gives that
That's
chance.
massive in sports. And you're not going to get it when someone can't get a big number.
And I would say also, that is why every year I feel like there is different people pushing towards the top at USDGC.
Yeah, it
Because you
fluctuates
have
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No other tournaments throughout the year does it do that.
Paul shot, what, 10 up?
Yeah.
I gotta say up.
10 over. Yeah.
You know?
But, like,
Yeah.
it seems to change a lot.
Every year I feel like there's a new lead card.
Yeah. I like that.
Chris Clemens had a great year this
Yeah.
year, and you have
Kevin Jones has broken out at USDGC multiple
And that's
years.
and that's
that
probably
was a breakout
similar to
event.
like the U.S. Open, because like Augusta, for example, they say that's the easiest major to win because one, it's really hard to get in. Okay, so it's pretty much the same guys almost every year get in it. And talking to some of these guys, they'll literally, I mean, Brooks came out and said it. He'll literally say how certain majors, he's like half the field can't win.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and what are we at in disc golf right now? It's probably even worse than that because, like, at most tournaments, would you bet any money outside of the top maybe 15 guys?
Not even
No,
close.
no
way.
Not
No.
even outside the top
I was gonna say top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you said like Paul, Ricky,
Yeah,
Eagle,
if I gave you like
Simon,
100 to 1 odds on like,
if you took those 4 guys and said those guys are
Someone
in Calvin
dark
versus
horse.
the field, like no way.
The only one I would like sneak in there is Emerson.
oh,
'Cause I feel
well,
like
he's.
Emerson-
I think he's a top guy now.
Oh yeah, well he just wasn't in the sport.
He's not there, but I think he's a top guy.
Emerson,
So
Calvin. So you might have to go like 6 or 7.
yeah, but I think that's not great for the sport. You
No.
know, I think people want to
You need
see
parity.
anyone winning. So okay, last thing I'll say about terminology. They kept birdie, they kept bogey, and this is more just for the people that are like, we need to break away from golf. It's like there's so many things already in disc golf that you literally just copied from golf. So you clearly don't want to break away completely, or else you would have been like, hey, let's call a birdie. Let's name.
Let's call it a fish.
Let's call it a beach
Yeah.
whale.
Oh, let's go
I
out
got
to
a
fishes.
Like I got a fish.
I got a
Two-
dolphin.
200 bars of
Oh,
dolphin,
you got
yeah.
a whale, which was an eagle.
Yeah.
You got hole in
You
one.
just got a double salmon.
Yeah, an ace is no longer an ace. It's gonna be a freaking zebra cake. Like you can, like you have So clearly, there's some things which makes a lot of sense. And what your point earlier was, let's figure out what works and what
Yeah.
is going well and keep it and what's not. But I will say the tee box is we need to come up with a new name.
There is no tees in disc golf.
There are no.
Okay.
You're
It's
technically
called a
the
tee,
reason
yeah.
why it's called a tee box in golf is you're
you
putting
tee it
a
up.
So should we
tee.
do like a run-up pad? So we were talking about this.
We're
earlier.
open. We're open. If people listening to this
Drop-
have great ideas,
Yeah,
tweet
drop
us
down in
at
the
Foundation.
Yeah, drop in the
or-
comments.
Keypad.
What should it be called?
T-pad does make so much sense at this point. Like as far as it just sounds okay that like
Yeah.
you're gonna
Because
have
golf has made it to where
Yeah.
that is where you.
That's
It's
the,
true.
That's
We
where
were
you
saying,
start.
That's
we
what it's
were
called,
saying
your
though,
tee shot.
basically in disc golf, your tee is your run-up. Because we were talking about this when we
yeah,
were talking
your
about
tee is the
eliminating
run-up.
run-ups.
Yep, your
Okay.
tee is your run-up.
So when we were talking about eliminating run-ups, your tee is your run-up because that's what provides you with the advantage to get extra distance.
So run-up box
Run-up box, sure. But what I'm
does
saying
not
is
really
That's
flow
awful,
off
yeah.
the
It's
top.
so
tee
bad.
box
the run
is great.
pad.
We leave tee box.
I don't have
we
a
leave
problem
tee
with
pad.
tee box and
But-
T-pad. Yeah.
Where I'm going, and this might need to be the final topic here. This was
No, we got to talk about tap-in because that's just ridiculous.
Okay, we'll talk about tapping
That's outrageous.
No one's tapping anything.
as valid. But I mean, you just tap out.
What are you tapping?
All my
The
butts.
chains. You're tapping the
all
chains.
my,
of the
all my
bits.
butts.
Yeah.
All the,
You tapping the chains of the
big
bits.
Oh, but that doesn't work for some people. So 'cause some people tap the. I guess
You're
you
still
should
tapping the cage.
But that's also illegal. Let's be real.
well, this
No,
weekend,
you
all I'm
tap,
gonna do.
drop.
Yeah, but some people don't
okay,
drop.
drop-ins.
So
There is drop-in.
A drop in.
Drop-ins.
Drop-ins are dirty.
There's your term.
I love drop-ins.
I mean, I can take all my putts from this week and hang them over the basket and smack it in and call it a tap in.
Here we go.
Like,
Tippy
there, I
tap, tap,
tapped
tap.
it in.
Please do that
There.
because I definitely want to beat you. You're definitely.
Well, I'm gonna be
missing-
sitting there tapping everything
You're
in and
definitely gonna be
birdieing
missing one of those
everything.
tap-ins.
What
All
I'm
right, what were you
saying-
gonna say?
What about the idea of eliminating run-ups if you're not on the tee?
I love it. As just like a.
It makes sense.
All I'm saying is like, let's try it. What? Why is everyone so against
All right,
it?
Battle for Bedford, new rule.
I think
This
But
is now
you,
an XP.
how do we know that's gonna be worse? That's my question. How do we know like?
I think it'd be better.
How do we know it's gonna be worse though?
it definitely
No.
changes course par a bit because you no longer can
No,
like.
we leave.
Not
We leave
necessarily.
Well, but the thing is, there's certain par fives where the only way you're getting there to try to make an eagle is a huge run up,
but eagles should be very hard to come by.
but they'd be impossible on some
Would
holes.
they?
I mean, you could
An
still
eagle
Yeah,
throw.
you
You
could
could
throw-
still.
Paul can
outstanding
throw close to
shots.
500-foot standstill. It's harder than
So
doing
here,
the
wait.
run-up,
Okay, here's a good
but-
question. What is on a hard par five in golf? Okay, because they're gonna be hard par fives in disc golf and easy par fives
You're
in disc
looking at
golf.
just shy of 600 yards.
So a hard par five in golf, yeah, five. Let's say like 585.
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
it's gonna take a really good drive, and let's also remember too in golf the lie is so important. Where the lie in disc golf not that important. You
Unless
have
you're
way,
in the woods.
Yeah, unless you're in the woods.
If you're in
But-
the open, you're good.
But you're
Yeah.
probably not having a massively long hole in the woods
Yeah.
for a par five. You're not, right?
most of the time.
Most of the time. So what's harder? Hitting a massive drive off the tee and then hitting a 3-wood onto the green and then potentially making like a 25-footer, or throwing a massive shot off the tee box and then throwing. I mean, I'm assuming Paul could still probably rip 450, 475 standstill.
Yeah,
Eagle,
absolutely.
Simon. I think those guys could still rip it that far, which is
my head around.
it's ridiculous.
Nuts.
It's ridiculous, but they could. So they rip that. So let's say they go 500, 450. That's 950, and let's say it's like a 1,000,
Foot hole.
1,100 feet foot hole. They're 150 feet out. They throw it in.
Yeah.
What's harder?
I'm not against the idea. I mean, I think it's certainly
Yeah.
interesting
I mean, I think they're close to being equivalent.
because I do think run ups, like, I mean, foot faults, like, don't need to be a part of the game. Like, I mean, you can foot fault off a tee pad still.
Yeah.
But if you're doing all standstill outside of your tee shot, then foot faults are kind of eliminated.
It's just
This
like
also
addressing your
eliminates.
lie.
It also eliminates the like step putting, like foot faulting,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
the jump putting.
jump putting's
issue.
gone.
To me, it also
It gets rid
eliminates.
of the fault.
That hurts.
To me, it also
that hurts my game a
the
lot.
whole reason with
Hurts my- yeah.
the whole reason with stroke and distance is the fact that if you throw a bad shot, you're penalized. So now, even if you don't throw that bad of a shot, let's say there's no stroke and distance OB on a hole, and you still throw a bad shot, like you yank it and hit the first tree, you're now super penalized because your next throw is you can't just pick up your driver again and tee it up and just blast it. You know, if you
Yeah,
shank
now you're
one.
throwing a standstill.
And it's
Yeah.
you're more penalized for a bad
I
shot.
think it's interesting.
So-
I think it makes forehands even more valuable
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
now guys are really going to want to throw forehands.
Yeah.
'cause
'Cause
It's
you
so
can rip
much.
a- you
It's
can
so
Could you
rip
much
imagine
easier.
though someone like duffing in golf, someone duffing a shot, okay,
Yeah.
and then still somehow making a par?
Like
how
walking up,
how ridiculous that would be.
Teeing up their driver again from the
Like it's a
side,
400, it's a
boom.
480-yard par 4, and they duff it.
Impossible, pretty much.
They duff it, and then they make par.
Yeah.
Well, off
That
the
ha-
tee they do?
They duff it 3 feet off the tee,
Okay, off
and then
the
they
tee.
make.
I would say if you do it on your second shot, it's still
Well, the
It's-
whole
yeah.
reason they can't is because they can't tee it back up.
No, you're now hitting your 3-wood, which you're probably hitting 30, 20 yards shorter.
Yeah.
And now you would really have to get up and down. It would be a really impressive par.
Yeah, in disc
where
golf,
if
you
someone hits a first tree on a par 3, they
You can
there's-
still say par.
If they should still be you. It's just they're not gonna get a birdie.
Yeah.
Versus holy cow, this guy might not make a par. Like
Yeah.
it just makes it so the 4 is easier.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have anything else to talk about? I feel like we didn't even talk about
We didn't talk
anything.
about everything, but we talked about a lot. So
What
I'm
are
gonna
other
wrap it
what
up.
are other topics?
The only other thing on here was the best ultimate player from disc golf.
Oh, that's a
we
great
have to
one.
finish with
Should we
that.
just
We
leave-
All right,
want
we can
this
finish
one.
it.
Okay, so this is why this is what I wanted to talk about. I'll set it up. Okay.
This will be a lighthearted end to a.
Yeah, this is a great.
Yeah.
this
After
was
we just
good
offended
though. There was
everybody.
some banter, some back and forth. Okay, so my scenario is this: I started actually practicing and playing disc golf January 1st. My first tournament was Waco, which I believe was like 77 days or something, and that was getting thrown from basically not doing anything in disc golf to being in a premier event on the feature card playing against the best players.
Okay.
Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to flip the script. I want you guys now to tell me who in disc golf with 77 days of practice could go and play on one of the top teams in Ultimate, get thrown in one of the top tournaments and be the main handler. Main handler being main handler.
Can we
So
pick
now
Paul?
we're talking about
Well, because
throwing
disc
a lot
golf is
more.
throwing.
Yeah.
I'm not.
So that changes my entire mindset.
Okay, so
expecting
we'll
this.
let you go last. I'm not expecting guys in disc golf to figure out how to read the disc and how to cut and all that stuff. That takes way too much time. And also, they're going to probably gas out. 77 days is not long enough.
The preface.
Yeah, 77 days is not long enough
So
to
we're
be
just
able to
trying to
play
find
9 games in a weekend.
So we're trying to think through someone who could throw an ultimate disc really well.
Well, then that's gonna change everything.
With
Yeah.
someone guarding them.
Yeah.
And then also be able to, if they turn it over or whatever, have to play defense on that guy.
Okay,
'Cause
so there is
the
still
point.
some athleticism involved.
Is Paul
Oh,
allowed
athleticism,
to-
athleticism is almost imperative, but it's not as imperative being a handler versus being
Well,
like
sure.
a downfield guy.
Well, yeah.
Paul is not included because he's not here to defend himself.
Well, no one I'm about to name is.
No one
No,
is,
yeah.
but I feel like, if you drop Paul, I think he should be able to say something. All right.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first just because I just got the tables turned. Because when you said this a few days ago, I was thinking everybody can throw pretty well. Everybody's going to throw pretty competently if you're a professional disc golfer. You may have an argument. Okay.
All I know is I watch nothing against
77
nothing
days of
against the
practice?
man, nothing against the man. But I watched someone try. Okay, first off, here's the first thing. The fact that people think, what is it called when people step out like an ultimate throw?
Patent pending.
Patent pending.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that people, when someone throws a patent pending shot and people go nuts, that's how I know what you just said is completely wrong. Because guess what? Every throw in ultimate is patent pending.
Yeah, every backhand's
When
Yeah.
you're throwing your
If we're going
forehand,
off of this.
when you're throwing your forehand, you're stepping with your right foot to your right.
Yeah, I
And
know.
doing
You're not
this.
like in
you're
disc,
doing the opposite
disc
of what
golfers lead with their
everything-
left foot.
That feels
Ultimate
good.
players are
I
leading
just
with their
did it
right.
in the
That's
distance
what-
challenge.
Did
the
you
other
just
day.
say you didn't think about that?
No, like that feels like that's natural to me. Like I'm very
Stepping with your wrong
You
foot.
wait. You lead with your right foot
If
when
I'm
you throw
throwing,
a forehand.
if I'm gonna throw a standstill forehand, I would rather be straddled.
Oh, you're weird for that, but
Like I would rather be out here throwing it.
that's a
Like, I have more control.
different
Okay,
argument.
so continue. Though.
Okay, so when you first said that, I was thinking, well, who's the guys that are just youngest and can run and jump? So I was like, well, Anthony Barella, he's like a young guy, seems athletic.
Okay.
Adam Ham is young, athletic. These are guys I was thinking of.
Okay.
But if we're talking way more about throwing, I know guys like Nate Sexton have like backgrounds in Ultimate and are very good like frisbee throwers. Like
Okay.
guys who throw very crafty, like they throw those he throws that dart around.
Yeah.
Like he's a guy who I think is throwing very well.
Okay.
So I'm choosing him.
I'm going Big Germ.
Okay.
Another guy very similar who can.
I had to sneak
Yeah.
that in there before Jeff could
Okay.
answer.
I'll
I'm definitely not saying
Maybe-
Big Jerk.
I'll wait until the very end to give
Well, I
my
was gonna say
thoughts.
mainly because if we're talking about a guy who needs to throw well and then just kind of get back on defense on the very back end, he's not running a lot. right?
Well, there's still a lot of
It's man-to-man defense.
Yeah,
because
wait,
up
was he
front I was
playing
going Drew
zone?
Gibson.
Is he just playing
Yeah.
zone by himself?
Originally, I was going Drew Gibson because I was thinking someone more athletic that
Okay.
needed
That's
athleticism.
Drew's
not
got
bad.
some hops too.
If we're
Okay.
going mainly just thrower, though,
I didn't think about Drew.
if
Drew's a good-
throwing's way more important, then I'm going someone like Big Germ,
As a
who
handler,
is
yeah.
going to be like he could throw a frisbee on a dime, backhand and forehand. I feel like,
Okay.
and has an ultimate background.
Okay.
Jeff,
Nobody took Eagle
I
yet.
I wouldn't
you say
say I wouldn't
Eagle?
pick Eagle.
no offense to Eagle, but have you seen the guy run?
No.
I haven't
Like
seen him run.
Eagle running.
seen him do
or-
push-ups?
Does he have a video of him running? That'd be an interesting video.
There's like a training video of him and Simon that-
running?
Oh yeah, back to old. Just
I
maybe, like,
basically
training
immediately
videos.
after I saw that, I took them out of anything basketball,
like,
anything that's like,
like athletic competition the disc golfer can do. Yeah, they're out.
yeah, anything that's like athletic outside of disc golf. They never came to my mind.
Okay.
They're athletic with disc golf. Put it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Nico I like as a pick.
Oh.
Like,
Okay.
have you ever watched? Like, I mean, watch Nico after he won Preserve. He's running around, darting around everywhere. Like that guy can
When
move.
he hit an albatross,
Yeah,
jumping
exactly.
off the tree, swatting an ultimate.
Okay.
Yeah,
later.
Nico is like that fast, squirrely handler that's hard to defend. Like he's
Squirrely.
gonna go back
He
and
is
get the
squirrely.
disc
Yeah,
back
that's the
from
word.
someone
That's a good
downfield.
pick.
Like,
I like that.
All right,
Alright.
Brodie, rank.
and Nico's just an athlete too. Like if you look
Before
at
I rank, just a quickly yes or no, or not a yes or no. I'll preface this question. Most tournaments you play 4 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. Okay, how many games, or how many points, or however many is your player that you picked actually playing before they get benched?
So I'm going Drew Gibson if we're going stamina at all.
You're playing a tournament. That's
what
what.
I'm saying. If we're going
That's-
just a handler who's like,
What you think they're playing they're not
I
playing
don't
in a
know much about
pickup.
ultimate. I
Okay.
don't know like anything about ultimate.
They're not playing in a pickup league.
Okay, I'm going Drew Gibson. I'm changing my answer.
There's 4 games on Saturday
Right,
that
Drew
you
Gibson.
play at 7 o'clock, then you play at 9 o'clock, then you play at 11.
So Drew Gibson's going all Saturday.
Okay, he's playing all, and he doesn't get benched.
No.
He's
If
playing
we're-
every
if
game.
we're-
Well, I don't know if
every
that's
game?
I don't know if that's normal. What's like? Did you ever get benched?
No, you 100% expect like Brodie to play the entire.
No,
tournament
I'm gonna
to start. If he's
I'm going to play the entire
Drew
tournament,
Gibson's not getting benched.
but no, you're benching someone if there's jacking dis out of
Yeah,
bounds,
okay.
or they're. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
Like,
so Drew Gibson's not getting benched.
yeah.
That's my answer. Then.
Okay, so
Well-
he's your starting handler. He's boss after 7.
We're
7
throwing
days.
him into the fire,
Okay.
right?
No.
Yeah, so he's a boss. All right, go.
If I'm comparing these guys to already pro ultimate players, Nate Sexton's getting benched after 1 game, if not even the whole game.
Okay, so he doesn't make it out 1 game. Okay.
I'm so
Korns?
confused as to what we're answering.
You're comparing these to
Are we going
professional
stamina? Or
ultimate
are we
players.
going based on? Because if
Like
it
at what
wasn't
point?
like their
At what
performance.
point watching Waco did you go? Brodie's not on the same level as these guys.
Oh, so that's
Did
what
I
we're
make
answering.
it all 18 holes? It
Is that
took
what
you.
we're- so that's what we're answering. So Drew
Yes.
You're putting someone on the
But he missed
field.
like 2 minutes.
Huh?
He missed like 2 minutes. I
Thank
thought it was
you.
a stamina thing. I thought we were saying how
No,
long does it
performance.
take?
You're the-
performance.
I'm
You're
the
the
coach
coach.
of the team, and all of a
I'm
sudden
never
you,
putting Drew in.
Okay, well, let's make let's make
he
it
has
for
to
you.
play the first point.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
let's
so he
make
plays
it.
the first point.
And then he's benched.
So you're
If I have someone to put in that's a pro ultimate player, yes.
this is your comparison, Hunter, for basketball. This is your
I mean,
starting.
come
This is your
on.
starting point guard. They're turning the ball over multiple times in the first like 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
You're pulling your point guard, right?
I'm not
You're putting the other
I'm not
guy in,
throwing
right?
Clint Dempsey into the LA Lakers and keeping him on the floor for more than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Okay, that was weird.
I just thought the first American athlete in my head was Clint Dempsey.
All right.
All right, so I guess well we got Drew Gibson,
Yes.
Nate Sexton, and
Nico.
Nico. Okay, your first pick would have got absolutely brutalized on defense.
I
Yeah.
fully didn't understand the question.
Big Germ, I think, would have had probably the best forehand because the way he throws it, it seems very ultimate like. And so his forehand game would be amazing. But as soon as there's a turnover, whoever is guarding Big Germ is
I'm
immediately
floating.
throwing their hand up
Anyone.
and yelling open, even if Big Germ's 5 feet behind
poached,
him
I'm poached.
and running deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Drew is a great pick. I didn't even think about him when we posed this. Drew's a great pick. Nate Sexton, I don't think it'd be as bad as Big Germ on defense. But the only question with that is when you're a smaller player as a handler, you have to really be quick twitch. Like you have to be able to pop out quick, and you need to be actually able to extend. So that would be an interesting thing to see. Can he? Because he has the throws, you've seen him, but can he bounce out real quick and make that throw in an instant? Because you only have that much time. You can't really think. Nico, I would say has the most potential, But I
It's got a
think
big downside too.
having someone like that, if Nico like threw it to someone and they dropped it, I don't know what would
He's
happen.
also only like
'cause-
5'8".
Yeah,
If that.
but he does look athletic, and there's shorter players like that in Ultimate, but there is this spirit of the game in Ultimate where
Here we go.
if you get thrown on a team that is super spirited and you're Nico or even Drew, really, if you're like that,
If you're any athlete, you get thrown into a freaking spirit of the game team. I mean, come on.
yeah, no, that's why I didn't play on those teams. I was very selective with who I played on. That's for a different conversation. But honestly, all three really good choices, and I think it leads me to I want to see a 7v7 disc golf versus Ultimate. Korns is the coach of one of the teams. I'm the coach of the other. 7v7 Ultimate with disc golfers.
Boom. So we'll set that event up. But thank you guys so much for listening.
Only available for patrons.
Thank you guys so much for listening. If you haven't already, go ahead over to our YouTube channel, just Grip Locked Podcast. Check out all the clips we're posting there, and go ahead and hit subscribe. Also, if you've been enjoying the podcast and you're an iPhone user, do us a favor and leave a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts. We'd greatly appreciate that. We always look at the reviews and try to figure out ways that we can improve. And yeah, I think that's about it. Does anyone have any other closing remarks?
Open podcast. I'm going to read one of the reviews.
Oh.
Because we said in the Discord that we would read
Oh,
one.
Brodie's bringing one up. Speaking of the Discord.
Oh my gosh.
The Discord is a great place if you want to interact with us on a regular basis, or you just want to go. Brodie is struggling over there. Or you just want
know
to.
where my. Can someone else open
watch
up
this.
their
So
podcast?
you can do that and search podcast.
Oh my gosh. I don't know where my podcast app is on my phone, so I always. That's the
I don't
only.
know. I don't know either. I do that same thing. I
That's
was
the
like,
only app. So the only way I can open it is by going open podcast. I'm sorry.
horrible.
All right. We got one right here. It's from Clean. Oh, no, they're not their name.
That's not their name.
That's just
That's
the
their
title.
nickname on the right.
Crimbonic says lots of good info, good interviews. Sure, they may have their favorites, but that's what makes it real. It's easy to listen to without getting annoyed. Oh, okay, I don't know if that was this podcast though. We'll see.
He probably
We'll
wrote
see how
that
it goes.
before we got into the golf versus disc golf
Yeah.
stuff. But anyways,
It's
guys,
all in good fun though.
Yeah.
Right? It's all. I mean,
it's all about starting discussions that other people can carry on in the comments, especially
Yes.
on YouTube and stuff.
Yes.
And grow the sport and come up with ideas
why?
outside the box.
Why do people watch Skip Bayless? Because he's awesome.
Because I hate him.
Yes.
He's controversial.
And that's what we're going for here at Grip Locked.
Thanks for listening or watching, guys. And as always, we will see you next week.
Do you have an outro yet?
Stay classy, Foundation Nation.
Never.